It's the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee. Back in the test kitchen, Amy takes inspiration from her visit to Scott Farm Orchard to bake up some tasty apple cider donut muffins.
So going to Scott Farm was such a thrill for me. I'm a confirmed apple nerd, and to be among that many varieties and with someone who knows so much about apples was so exciting. Now, I love making apple cider donuts. They're delicious, but you do have to fry them, and that's kind of messy, and it can be a little bit of a pain. So I came up with this recipe as an easier alternative. It has all the flavor of the cider donut, but it's a muffin. So you want to start out with 2 cups of apple cider, and we're reducing this because I want these muffins to have a real punch of apple flavor. So we're going to start with 2 cups. We're going to bring it down to 1 cup. It takes about 15 minutes or so. So while that's happening, I'm going to start making my batter. So I've got a stick of unsalted butter, and then I've got 3/4 of a cup of sugar. So this is the base. All right, so you can see now the butter is very fluffy, looks good to me, and now we're gonna add the eggs. And we're gonna mix this one in first. We're gonna do them one at a time. Okay, that looks good, and here's the second one. Okay, that's great. And now we're just gonna add a little vanilla for flavor. This is about 1.5 teaspoons. We're gonna mix that in. Perfect. And now we're gonna mix our dry ingredients. Okay, so I've got in my bowl here 2¼ cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna add some baking soda and baking powder. So the baking powder goes in first. That's 1 teaspoon, and then we're gonna have 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. We have 1¼ teaspoon of nutmeg. Now, nutmeg is the flavoring that is usually on the inside of a cider donut. And then I've got 1 teaspoon of salt, because you need salt to perceive all those wonderful flavors. So I'm just gonna whisk this together, super easy. I'm going to add 1/3 of this dry mix to the butter sugar mixture, and I'm gonna mix that. So now I'm gonna add 1/2 of my reduced apple cider. Okay, and while that's mixing, I'm gonna add another 1/3 of the dry ingredients. And now the rest of the cider. And finally, the last of the dry ingredients. And now I like to use an ice cream scoop when I'm putting muffins in the pan. It gives a nice even portion. Okay, so my muffin tins are full. I'm just gonna pop them right in my 375-degree oven and bake them until they're nice and brown. And if you stick a little toothpick in the center, it comes out clean, which takes usually about 15 to 17 minutes. All right, there they are, looking pretty, but that's not all, folks. Now I'm gonna make the cinnamon sugar coating that goes on the outside. So this is 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon in 3/4 cup of sugar. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like cider donut muffins. That's what it smells like. There you go, that's it, very simple. So I'm gonna take my muffins. I'm going to dip a little pastry brush in some melted salted butter. I'm gonna lightly brush it, just enough to make it sticky, because I'm going to roll this in the cinnamon sugar. See that? And it sticks, and it's so good. Look at that, how beautiful. And that is how you turn a muffin into a donut. See the nutmeg on the inside there? Little flecks of brown. Oh, it's so good. I love this recipe. And for this, or any of the other delicious recipes on our show, you can visit weekendswithyankee.com.